Hi guys, thanks for having us. Like she said, my name's David, this is Maggie. We are martial artists and we run an academy here in Oak Ridge. You might have seen us next to Starbucks. You see a big sign that says PMA. That's us, Progressive Martial Arts Academy here in Oak Ridge. And we're here to talk today about how martial arts can help with something like what you were just working on, coping skills, and how it can help us be healthier, both physically, mentally, emotionally. All these things martial arts can be really good for, while also learning a really important skill, which is how to defend yourself. Yeah. So does anyone in here already know kind of what martial arts are? What do you think a martial art is? Yes, back there.
Yes.
What is it? Yeah, like punching, kicking. That's about what most people kind of have in their mind, is it's teaching us how to fight. Yeah.
Yes.
Karate Kid, exactly. A lot of times people have an idea in their mind from something they've seen in a movie or a TV show. Karate Kid is a great example. And actually, how a lot of people start in martial arts is they get inspired by watching a movie or a TV show that has it, and they go, ooh, I think I'd like to try that, including Maggie. When she was a little girl, her brothers and she watched the movie Karate Kid, and that inspired them to go, oh, I'm going to go try a karate class. So she's been training since she was 5. And same for me. We both started when we were real little. So what different styles of martial arts are there? Have you heard of different styles? Yeah.
No.
Yeah, what are some different styles that exist? We say karate, right? Karate Kid. Yeah. Jiu Jitsu, excellent. That's one of the ones we do. Nice job. Anyone ever heard of any others? We got Jiu Jitsu, that's a big one. Where? Got another one? Yeah. Yeah, what other styles of martial arts could there be? So martial arts is a word we use for all of them together. We call them all martial arts, but there's lots of different ones. Maybe you've heard of, has anyone ever heard of Taekwondo? Yeah, that one's a big one. Around here, there's a real big martial art called Ishinryu. It's a style of karate. Maybe you've heard of that one. Judo. You heard of Judo before? Yeah. So we teach a few different martial arts at our academy. One of them is a style of karate called Kempo. Kempo focuses on learning how to punch and kick and how to defend yourself against common self-defense scenarios. Somebody trying to grab you or attack you with a weapon, something like that. We teach Jiu Jitsu, which somebody listed. You said Jiu Jitsu, right? Do you know what Jiu Jitsu is?
A little bit.
What do you think Jiu Jitsu is? What does it focus on? If Kempo is punching and kicking, what do you think Jiu Jitsu might focus on? It's very different.
I mostly know because there's breathing techniques.
Nice, yeah, breathing's important in every martial art. Like what you guys were just working, you're gonna see us doing a lot of different breathing exercises in the drills we're doing today, because it helps us control our breath so that we don't lose our energy too quickly or let our emotions take control too much when we're training. So that's an important piece. Jiu-Jitsu teaches you what to do if the fight goes down to the ground. So how to grapple on the ground and escape from somebody trying to hold you down or control somebody on the ground. So that's a very important one. We also teach the Filipino martial arts, which you train with weapons like sticks and knives, so you can learn how to defend yourself with weapons. And all of these things are really important when you're learning how to fight, which is the main skill that you're learning in martial arts. But martial arts is about 2 things. Self-defense, that's the fighting part, and the other one is self-perfection. Anyone have any ideas of what self-perfection might be?
Self-perfection.
Self-perfection. Where at? Yeah.
What is it?
What is self-perfection?
Yes.
It's the idea of trying to make yourself better every day. So a lot of the things you guys are doing in this camp are about self-perfection. They're about learning how to be a better person, how to have better control of ourselves, how to make sure that we're prepared for all the different stresses and situations we might encounter in life. And martial arts can be an incredible tool to help us learn how to be a better person, have better control of ourselves through all the different techniques that we're going to learn. Now, one of the coping skills you guys learned, I know back in the back there, purple vest, what's your name?
Me?
Yeah.
Spencer.
Spencer listed exercise as one of the coping skills. How can exercise be helpful? What did you learn last session? Why would exercise be a helpful tool?
What did we just learn from Ms. Thompson regarding exercise?
To make sure your body is like
always healthy and stuff?
Very good. Our body needs exercise. We need to move our body for it to stay healthy. And it also helps us relieve stress. But when we spend energy, it makes us feel better. And so all the problems that we encounter in life all get a little bit better when we're exercising. When we aren't exercising, all that extra energy inside of us that we're not using gets built up, and then it comes out in bad ways. So you might have more fits, like you yell out, you lash out at somebody when you're upset because you're stressed. All that energy is balled up inside of you, and letting it out can be a really helpful tool. So we're going to demonstrate next one of the ways that you can use martial arts to exercise. We're going to, Maggie here is going to be practicing some punches and kicks, and I'm going to be holding pads for her. What's cool about when you exercise in martial arts is you aren't focused so much on the fact that you're exercising. You're focused on doing the techniques you're supposed to do instead. So she's going to be thinking about the different pads that come up and how she's supposed to hit them correctly. But since she's hitting them with power and with speed, it's going to make her tired. It's going to make her exercise. Okay, so let's take a look. These are called focus mitts. You can see there's a little white dot on there. Her goal is going to be to hit the white dot every time, but I'm going to be putting it in different spots, which cue her to hit it with different techniques. Check cross hook. Check cross hook round this. Shuffle upside. 2. Jab hook. Jab cross hook over. Jab uppercut. Jab cross. Pretty cool, huh?
That was so cool.
And that was just about a minute, but you might do that for 2 minutes,
I don't
3
want
minutes. Take a break, catch your breath, get some water, do it again, do it again, do it again. And you train, usually when you train martial arts, you train for about an hour or so. And by the end of class, oh man, you're tired from all of that moving, but you feel so good because you got to relieve stress by hitting something, you got to exercise your body, and the whole time you were practicing techniques that will help you learn how to defend yourself if you ever needed to, okay? What's important when you're training martial arts, though, is that the whole environment that we're learning in is built around something that's really important in martial arts called respect. Does anybody already have an idea of what respect is?
Respecting people.
What does it mean to respect people?
Be nice and the word I can't think of it.
That's a beautiful answer. What's your name?
Chloe.
Chloe. Being kind, being nice, is basically what respect is. It can be a little confusing because we have different levels of respect for different people in our lives. But all of them are important. Anyone ever heard of the golden rule?
No.
What is the golden rule?
Is to treat others the way you want to be treated.
Excellent. To treat other people the way you want to be treated.
And
It's
not
one of the
me.
most important things, and it's really important in martial arts because what is the skill that you're learning in martial arts? Fighting. We can't teach a room full of people how to fight if we don't think they're kind, respectful people, or else they're going to go use those skills to hurt other people, right?
Yeah,
It's really important that they're kind, respectful people. But different people in your lives, you have different levels of respect for. So can you think of someone who does a lot of things for you? Someone that might cook for you, clean for you, buy you the things you need, take you the places that you want to go. Who does those kinds of things for you? Yes?
Mom.
Mom, right? Yeah,
My mama.
your mama. Those people, the people in your life that do so much for you, here's something that's a little bit sad. They deserve the most respect because they do so much for you that you should make sure that whenever they ask you to do something for them, you do it right away. That's how we show respect back to them. But often the people that we're closest to, the people that do so much for us, sometimes we treat the worst. We yell at them the most. We're unkind to them the most. And it really shouldn't be that way. So that's right off the bat, an easy place that all of you can practice respect is with the people that are in your life already that are really close with you. What about a teacher? So in this setting at a school, you're often with teachers, right? What kind of respect do we have for our teachers? How do we show respect to them?
Being nice to them.
How do you be kind to your teachers? You guys are doing an excellent job right now, actually.
Listening.
Yeah, you listen when they talk. You try not to talk while they're talking so that it's not too loud. Everyone can focus and pay attention. And if they ask you to do something, you participate and do it along. Even when it's something you're not super interested in, which is difficult sometimes when you're at school, not every topic is going to be very exciting to you, right? So when there's one that you're not really that interested in, still giving your focus to the teacher is super helpful. That's paying them respect as their teacher. They're spending a lot of time working with you, so you do that to show respect to them. Okay, what about to a complete stranger? What kind of respect do you have for a complete stranger? Yes, in the back.
Yes. We don't have to tell people.
Very good, yeah. And when we have a stranger in our life, we don't need to talk to that person. And some people think, well, that's not being nice. No, it is being nice. That's how we want to be treated by the stranger. We don't want the stranger walking over and bothering us, so we don't walk over and bother the stranger. We let them live their own life. They let us live our own life. And that's how we show respect to strangers. It's a weird way to show respect, but for example, should I walk over to the stranger and just beat him up since I know martial arts?
No.
No, right? That would be completely wrong. And I wouldn't want them to do that to me. So that's how we show respect to each other, right? Okay. Why is that so important in martial arts? Because the whole time we're learning how to fight. So we talked about Kempo and Jiu Jitsu. Remember what Jiu Jitsu was?
No. What?
Teaching you how to fight on the ground. So one of the things you learn in Jiu Jitsu is how to take people down to the ground. So next, Maggie's going to demonstrate some throws, unfortunately for me, because that means she's going to be throwing me onto the ground. But this martial art teaches you how to use leverage so that you can use technique to throw someone much bigger than you. So when you look at Maggie and I, we're not very close to the same size. If she tries to just use strength to pick me up, it's not going to go very well. But if she positions her body the right way, she can throw me with ease. Let's take a look at a couple. This first one is called ogoshi, which means a hip throw.
Bro.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And how easy was it, Maggie?
Pretty easy.
Watch it slowly. She positions her hips where she has control of my arm. I was trying to hit her, she has control. But her hips are now right underneath my hips. So she slowly starts to lean her body forward. Look what happens to my legs. Maggie, talk to them. How much energy are you using right now?
Not much. He's not that hard to hold.
Despite me being like twice her weight. And if she continues to rotate, she throws me on the floor.
Yay.
Now that can be extremely helpful for scenarios where someone is attacking you that's bigger than you. Just learning how to use leverage to off-balance somebody. You throw someone on the ground in a fight, that gives you a big chance to get away or to get on top of them and get control. Now what if, let's say, I snuck up behind her and I was going to try to strangle her from behind. She could use a throw like the seonagi, which is a shoulder throw, to throw me on the floor. Let's see. Really similar idea, just slightly different. She's throwing me more over her shoulder because I reached my arm over the top like this, but I made a big mistake. Since I didn't have control yet, I put myself in a perfect position for her to tip me over.
Yay.
Go Meg.
Isn't that cool?
Yay. Go Maggie.
Last one. This one's a little bit simpler, but does a similar idea. If she can off-balance me, she can use her leg to sweep my leg. This one's called an osotogari.
Yay.
She puts herself just in the right spot where her leg takes out my leg. All of a sudden, I'm on the floor. Now, what does she do with me once I'm on the floor?
Whatever she wants.
Whatever she wants. She could run. She could kick me or stomp on me if I was really dangerous and she needed to hurt me. She could put me into a submission. This time, Max, let's see a hip throw into an arm bar. Now, you might have to stand up to see because we're going to be down on the ground.
Stand up, guys.
So take a look. Let's see it. So same throw as before, right? Then what? Stay there, Max. What's happened? She's positioned her body where my entire arm is isolated away from the rest of my body. I can't help with my other hand or my legs. But her hips are located right under my elbow. So if she pulls down on my wrist and lifts up her hips, what am I do? You see how I'm tapping her leg? That's her cue to stop. Because if she keeps going, she's going to break my arm. It's called an arm bar. Good, you can have a seat.
Okay, thanks.
So these are the kind of things that Jiu Jitsu teaches us.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty cool, huh?
Okay.
Don't break it.
So we said martial arts was about two things. Anybody remember what they were?
No.
They both started with the word self.
Self-defense.
Self-defense is number one, right? We're learning how to defend ourselves, what to do in a fight. And the other one was, someone said self-help, very close. Self-perfection, just becoming a better version of yourself every day. One of the cool things that we do in martial arts to help with the self-perfection part that's funny, is something called a form. Yeah, did you hear that? They didn't catch it. Something called a form. A form is a pattern of punches and kicks and blocks done in a sequence that you have to memorize. And this is tough on our brain. Have you guys ever had to memorize something before?
Yeah.
What kind of things have you had to memorize?
Math.
Passcodes, yeah. That's a good one. Or passwords for something. What would you say? Fighting styles, okay, yeah, that's what we have to memorize in our job. What else?
Math problems.
Math problems. You ever memorize like times tables?
No.
Right? Or how to spell or definitions. We have all these things in our brain.
Where you were in the video game.
Yeah, exactly. How to beat a video game. All these things we're trying to store in our memory, and learning how to become better with our memory and using our mind is really helpful. So this is a tool we use a lot in martial arts to help develop our memory, but also our focus. What is focus?
Focus on the never mind.
Yeah, it's being able to pay attention to the thing we're supposed to be paying attention to, which is not easy. It's not easy to do, but really important as you transition into different jobs and careers and different stages of life. We have to be able to focus. So if you think about, let's say, for example, a firefighter. Pretty important job, agreed? Let's say he gets a call that he has to go save someone whose house is on fire. And when he gets the call, he doesn't focus very well, forgets where the address is. We're talking about every second matters. He has to be very focused and drive the right pattern to get to the house he needs to get to in time to save them, right? What about, can you think of any other jobs where focus would be super important?
Police officers.
Why would a police officer need focus?
Because they need to do their job and not get in trouble and get fired.
Very good. Yeah, you got to pay attention. You've got a lot of
Pay
responsibilities
attention.
as a police officer to help the community. And there's going to be lots of jobs they might need. Yes, sir? Construction worker. What happens if a construction worker isn't focused while he's building a building or a house? He could get injured, or he could injure a lot of people if he doesn't do the construction properly. The bridge that he's building, the house he's building, could all fall apart because he skipped some essential steps. Very good example. Yes, sir?
A rally car driver.
Yeah, driver has to be really, really focused all the time.
A rally car driver.
Rally car driver, that's exactly right. When you're driving, you have to be focused on your car, all the cars around you. It requires tons of focus. So, yeah, last one.
So I was most important would be like a brain surgeon.
Yeah, incredible example, right? Something as a surgeon is so incredibly focused. In fact, we have a few surgeons who train, who this is a little bit scary to hear. They said that they felt much more confident at their job after training martial arts because they saw their focus improve. They felt like they were more easily able to stay on task, which made me worry about the people that before they started training. Okay, so we're going to demonstrate a form next. This one is called Kata 1. It's going to include some basic kicks, punches, and blocks, and a sequence that we have to memorize. And you'll know if we did it right or not because we're going to do it together. So if one of us messes up, we're not going to be doing the same thing anymore. Ready, Max? begin. Hey! Pretty cool, huh? What's neat about forms is you can do them all by yourself. You don't need any pads, don't need a mat. When we go home, we can practice our forms. Maybe in a situation like when COVID happened a few years ago, where we weren't allowed to be close to each other, we could practice our forms still. So they're very helpful in martial arts to give you a way to keep practicing when you can't work with someone else. Yeah, go ahead.
They're also a really cool way, like they're talking about using exercise or moving your body as a coping skill. They're a really easy way to do that. I was homeschooled, and so if I ever got bored of school or was having a hard time focusing, I would get up, go outside, go to my living room, and do my forms, because there's a way for me to move my body and give my brain a break from school. So they're a really cool way to do that as well.
Absolutely. Great example. So while you can do them by yourself, often martial arts is done with a group. You come and train with a group of people. But that thing that we talked about a few minutes ago, that martial arts is built on what? What was that word about being kind? Somebody said it. Say it louder. Oh, it was you.
Go for it.
Let's hear it.
Respect.
Respect. When you have a group of people that all are understanding that we're going to be respectful to each other, it creates a really special environment and develops really cool relationships because everyone is under the same vision of we're going to be kind to each other. Unfortunately, the whole world isn't that way. There are a lot of people walking around that aren't kind and aren't respectful, and we have to learn how to deal with those people by remaining calm, not letting them agitate us too much, losing our self-control, and something like martial arts helps develop that a lot. Because you know what you would do if you were really in danger, you don't feel the need to lash out of anger just because someone said something mean. The only time we use our martial arts is when we're actually in danger, when we're physically in danger, someone might hurt us. When someone just calls us a name, looks at us funny, makes fun of us, we have the confidence to be able to say, that person's not worth our time, and walk away. We don't need to get into fights for just because we're mad at someone, just because we're angry. What's interesting is the word anger is only one letter off from the word danger. If you put the letter D in front of anger, it becomes danger. And those two things are what people confuse often with when it's okay to fight. A lot of times people fight out of anger. Imagine you're, in an argument with someone, and all of a sudden they get really angry and call you a mean name, and it makes you angry, so you decide to punch the person. Is that okay?
Yes.
No.
No.
They made us really angry, and they called us a mean name, but were we really in danger? Maybe our feelings were in danger. They might have hurt our feelings, but our body wasn't in danger. In those moments, just because the other person lost self-control doesn't mean we should lose self-control too. And martial arts helps develop that self-control really well because we're fighting with each other all the time. We learn when it's okay to fight, when it's appropriate to fight, and when it's not. But since you're working with a group of people that are all being respectful and kind, it creates a really unique environment. Maggie, you said you were homeschooled.
Mm-hmm.
What was it about working with a group at martial arts that you liked the most?
Well, for one, I made some of my best friends through training in martial arts. And it was a way for me to make friends and connect with people and get interactions when I didn't have that in my school day because I was stuck at home during school. So it was one of my favorite parts of my day. I trained every single day of the week for 13 years. And there's no community like it. You're all helping each other become better, and it's a really unique group to be a part of.
So if you haven't ever tried an activity like it, it might be something you want to try one day. Is go take an introductory class, a special class where you can learn a little bit about the basics of martial arts and see if it's something for you. You never know, you might find an activity that just you'll come to really love and enjoy. Now, while those forms could be done by themselves, not everything we can do by ourselves. So for example, now we're gonna do a couple of drills with weapons. And these techniques, a lot of times we practice with another person to practice our timing and our distance and make sure all of that is right. So let's start with 2 sticks, Maggie. All right, this first drill is called Sinawali. It requires precision with our timing and our technique to make sure we don't hit each other. It's gonna be a little bit loud, yeah, so be ready. 7 seconds. So you can see our 2 hands are learning to work together so that in a fight, we know we can use both sticks easily. So it's a simple pattern, but it takes a lot of practice to be able to figure it out. Now we'll drop down to 1 stick, and we're gonna do a drill called sombrada. This is where we learn how to block and strike back and forth with each other. Still a pattern to practice, so it's not a real fight yet. We're not actually trying to hit each other. That we call sparring, which is something we do too, but we have to put protective gear on so we don't hurt each other. So today we'll just do this sombrada. So you can see if you slow this down, we're learning basic blocks and reactions we can do against the different ways someone might try to hit us with a weapon. Pretty cool, right? Kind of like a lightsaber duel. Now we're going to switch to knives. These are training knives, don't worry. Not real knives. Now these are a different distance. The stick is a lot longer, so that's teaching you how to use a blunt weapon. If you had to pick up something and hit somebody with it, how that would work. Now we're learning how to use an edged weapon, which requires different types of skill, because a stick requires distance for it to be effective. A knife doesn't. Everywhere the knife goes, it can cut the person. I don't need to be able to pull it back first. So that makes it even more dangerous to practice with, okay? So we'll learn a couple of drills from a close range to figure out what to do. A, if we have a knife, and then B, she'll do a defense in a second if she doesn't have a knife and someone attacks her. Let's start with 1-for-1 pass. So this is teaching her what to do against the different angles that somebody might attack and how to get her body out of the way and make sure she doesn't get cut. What's interesting though is if you watch close, her knife is doing something really important every time. What's it doing? Slicing my arm. We call this concept defanging the snake. Imagine I'm the snake, the knife is my fang. I'm a lot less scary if she gets rid of that first, right? What's cool is she's positioning herself at a distance where when I go to, let's say, stay still, Maggie, I get close enough where I can cut her. She steps back to where I can't reach her with my knife, but she can reach her target with hers. So every time she does that, she puts herself in a much better position to win than I am because she's getting to the right distance where my knife doesn't do what I wanted it to do, but her knife does. And what do you think would happen after she cuts my wrist?
It falls off.
It might do some damage. It might be hard for me to keep using my knife. And that gives her a chance to get away to safety, right?
Yeah.
Let's go a little bit closer now. This drill is called Hubad Lubad. This is teaching her what to do from a closer range. We're going back and forth with each other where we have to figure out, okay, a block like this might work good against a punch. But against a knife, by itself, a block isn't good enough because it can just keep going and cut me somewhere else. If that were a punch and I block it, it can't just keep going and do damage. It has to go back before it can do more damage. So against a knife, I can't just block. I have to reinforce my block to put it in a way where she can't go anywhere else with her knife other than back towards her. But before she does that, I trap it to her body. So I have a chance to get away or do something else with my knife. In this drill, we go back and forth so we can both get really fast with the movement in case we need it in reality. Called Hubad. All right, Maggie, let's see a knife defense without a knife. So now she doesn't have one. She can't just cut my wrist. You want to do a slash or a thrust?
Thrust.
All right, let's see one. What's she do? Let's see it from this angle. She's using her distance to get away from the knife, and then thankfully for me, not actually kicking me, using her kick into my ribs or into my knee to do some damage on the way out. So I'm a little bit hurt while she's running away. She doesn't want to stay and stick around and keep fighting with the knife if she has a chance to get away. Escaping is the most important thing. Okay, let's finish with a couple of self-defense techniques. But I want you guys to pick the scenarios. And teachers, you guys can pick too. So you're going to ask, what's a situation you think that would be scary if someone tried to do it to you? And we're going to demonstrate an option for how you would defend yourself in that situation. Any ideas? Yeah.
What if you're stuck in water?
Stuck in water. Ooh, that's a good one. So what do you mean? Are you like getting pushed underwater?
Yeah.
So it would depend on how the person was grabbing you. The cool thing is that when you're in water, all 4 of your limbs can work together, which is something we learn to do a lot in Jiu Jitsu, because when we're standing up, all 4 limbs can't work at the same time. Why not? Our arms and legs can't all go together because why?
Because you're using 2 of them to stand.
Yeah, I have to use 2 of them to stand, but once I'm in water, the water is holding me up, so I can use all 4. So for example, we don't have water, so let's use the floor. Maggie's on her back. All 4 of her limbs can fight together. Now, this might at first seem like, man, this is kind of a bad scenario for her, and it is dangerous. But when she learns how to move her body the right way here, she always keeps me in front of her so that I can't get around, which means at any point if I try to get on top of her, if her legs are there, it doesn't really help me because she can control distance. Now, depending on how the person was holding you in water, you would have to learn different things you could do. So let's say maybe I was like trying to push her head down. Well, with all 4 limbs there, she could easily break my arm with something called an armbar. Right? If I'm putting my weight on her, let's say I was going to go push her into the pool. She's going to put her feet on me and throw me over the top. It's called a tomonagi. Because again, she's keeping her legs positioned where she can use all 4 limbs. So it would have to be something like that, where we're going to use all 4, our arms and legs to fight the person off. How else might the person attack us? Yeah?
So I've seen it where like people like they'll come up to you and they act like they're innocent, you know, they're not gonna do anything. Then all of a sudden they pull them out like just like kind of put it in your chest. Just put
Yeah.
it there, really cool. Just so you can't really do nothing.
Right, you know.
Here, like what do you do then?
The biggest thing would be awareness. And it's one of the most helpful things you learn in martial arts, is to be paying attention to someone's body language and the way they're moving. Because a complete surprise attack, there isn't anything you can do with it because it was a surprise attack, other than have faster reactions, you know, and you would get those through training, so it would help you develop faster reactions. But the more important thing would be to be more aware. So when someone approaches you, and let's say everyone imagine for a second that someone that's a stranger is walking up to you. They're about to get closer to you. Okay? And especially if they're being kind of aggressive or suspicious, like you mentioned, right? The very first thing you should do is put your hands in front of your face and say, hey, stop. Back off. Don't come any closer to me. Everyone try that for a second. Put your hands up.
Hands up. Hands up.
And say, stop.
Stop.
Right? Back off.
Back off.
If you do that, someone has now gotten both a verbal and a visual cue that you do not want them to come any closer to you. This means stop, and everybody knows it. Like, hey, stop. So if the person kept coming towards you after that, it's given us all the information we need. We now know, like, oh, this guy isn't being kind, right? Now, if he was being kind, some people don't do that because they're nervous about offending someone. If I start walking up to her and she says,
Hey, stop.
oh, sorry, I just wanted to know, where's the restroom?
Oh, it's up there.
Okay, thanks. She might feel a little bit weird, but I also might feel like, oh, I guess I was approaching her a little fast. I made her nervous. But if the person is a kind person, they'll understand that. Or even if you offend them a little bit and they go, oh, whoa, 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 sorry, calm down. I was just trying to find out where the restroom was. It's okay. You don't have to let somebody into your personal space. So there's nothing wrong with protecting that space. And if she said stop,
Hey, stop.
and I kept coming, she can continue to make that space. She can back up some more to give her a little bit more time and think about what she wants to do. Now, in all reality, while Maggie has learned how to defend herself against the knife, she doesn't want to have to use it. She doesn't want to wait for me to get close enough and find out if I have a knife hidden in my pocket. So it'd be a lot better if, as I was coming forward, she stops me with a kick, right? And doesn't let me get closer. But of course, we can't do that unless we know the person is already a threat to us. Okay, I want to finish with, does anyone have any questions or anything for us before we head out? Doesn't have to be a self-defense scenario. It could just be something about martial arts or how we can use martial arts to cope and prepare for life. Yeah, over there.
Do you want to do tornado kicks?
Tornado kicks, yeah. Maybe we start doing. You want to do one, Mags?
Sure.
So this is where she spins around, jumps up in the air, bang, and
Oh,
lands
that's
a
cool.
kick. It's pretty cool, huh?
I've seen it all over YouTube where people were like WWE or something like
Yeah.
that. And I've seen it all of them like do that.
And depending on the strikes we're using, sometimes we'll practice breaking a board with them. You want to see her break
I
a
was
board?
about to say
Yeah.
that.
What kind of strike you want
break
to
the
do?
board.
Yay.
Let's do a roundhouse.
Ooh, I like that. So the roundhouse, that's the kick she uses in that tornado kick. Go ahead.
What?
Oh.
Snap through wood with it.
That's cool.
Teachers, do you guys have any questions for us? Something we didn't cover today
Miss
that
Carr does.
you were hoping we would touch
So
on?
do you think that the biggest thing
I'm just kidding.
as far as self-defense is awareness?
Awareness.
And following your instinct?
Yes, exactly. If
Okay.
I'm walking somewhere and I think that, oh, I think this guy is kind of following me, or this guy's a little bit suspicious, I don't want to just go on pretending that that's not happening or thinking, oh, I'm probably just being paranoid. I should respect that. And this is the most important thing for avoiding fights, is when you are trying to avoid a fight, remember that there's 3 things that have to be present. You have to be there. There's nothing you can do about that when you are where you are, right? There has to be an attacker there. That's also out of your control. You don't know which people walking around the planet are bad people that want to attack you. We don't know that. That's out of our control. But the third thing is in our control. The third thing is that the situation has to be right for an attack. So if I wanted to beat one of you guys up right now, I was just a mean person. Right now would not be a good time to do it, would it?
No.
Why not?
There's more of us.
There's a lot of you guys. What else?
There's teachers in here.
There's teachers. There's a camera right there recording us. This is a bad time for me to commit a crime right now, don't you think?
Yes.
So we use that to our advantage by being aware. Now, what would be a time where you'd be more vulnerable to an attack?
Dark alley.
Yeah. So how do you avoid that? Well, why are you in the dark alley?
Trying to take a shortcut.
Maybe. Okay, so now let's say we can't avoid it. And we have to go into that scenario where now we're more aware. We're paying attention. When we're walking around a public place, we want to make sure we're not looking at our phones, not paying attention. Have your eyes up. Be looking around the world so you can see if somebody's coming close to you that you don't want. You can see if a scenario starts to happen. Even something just bizarre, like, I don't know, a car drives off the road and it's coming towards you. You have to be aware to notice something like that, right? What do you do before you cross the street?
Look for cars.
Look both ways, right? It's a simple awareness tool, but sometimes people forget. You have to look, pay attention to what's going on. Yes, ma'am?
Or if you are in that kind of situation, you can just hide behind something in the dark alleyway.
Very good, yeah. If you need to, you can hide. In some situations, it's better. In some situations, it's best just to quickly go somewhere else where there's people or more lighting. And if something were to start happening, we make a lot of noise. We fight back as hard as we can. Even if you never learn martial arts tools, if someone ever really tries to attack you, you make sure you fight back and you're really loud so it's easy for someone to hear you, and that makes the attacker not want to mess with you anymore because they feel like, oh, I might get caught. This person's being really loud and fighting back. And it's not easy to attack someone that's fighting back, even if they aren't trained in martial arts. They can still be very difficult to handle. Yes, ma'am?
Being that we work with high schoolers and we got some drivers coming up, especially female, say they're out shopping at a mall,
Yeah.
they go to get in their car and there's somebody in the back seat that goes to attack them. Do you have any kind of technique that they could use to break away from them?
Yes. When you are dealing with like someone grabbing you from behind, when you train the art of Jiu Jitsu, you learn a lot about simple things. Like, for example, if I start to wrap my arm around her neck, and let's say we're in the car, so there's a car seat between us, maybe I grab a hold of her seatbelt and I'm using that to pull across, something like that. She learns a lot in Jiu Jitsu because we train with these gis how to choke someone. It's kind of crazy, right? She'll learn that when she grabs a hold of my arm, the best way to do it to give as much space as she can, go ahead. But she also starts to learn simple things like which way the choke is effective and which way it's not effective. So for example, when I'm grabbing her collar this way, she would always fall this way and turn in that direction to unwind the choke. Whereas if instinct kicked in and she didn't know better and she started turning the other way, it's gonna make the choke worse. So simple things like that, and adding things like where are the most effective places to hit someone? Their eyes, their groin, biting someone if you need to make sure that you get space, get a reaction. But yes, you'll learn all kinds of things like that that'll help a lot. Now, a better thing there is back to awareness. There was an incident a couple of years ago at a store in Knoxville where a woman walked in and she came back out to her car after shopping and she noticed a suspicious van was parked next to her car. And her instinct told her that something seemed weird, but she told herself, oh, it's probably fine. I'm probably just being paranoid. When she went to get in her car, the van door opened, somebody got out from behind, grabbed her and started trying to pull her into the van. And she kicked and screamed and fought back, and they eventually decided to let her go and drive off. They were found later in Texas and Las Vegas and arrested for multiple kidnappings.
Wow.
She happened to escape by fighting back. But later, talking about this with all of our students, we said first and foremost, she did an incredible job by fighting back. But some other things what are some things she could have done awareness-wise? When she had that feeling, what could you do?
Go back in the store.
Yeah, go back in the store, wait it out a minute, right? Ask a store worker if they'll walk you to the car. Go ahead and make a phone call and let someone know, hey, something weird is going on. I see this van here, I'm not sure if it's okay. I'm at Ross in Knoxville. Tell them where you are, tell them here's their license plate number. You can be smart like that. Hit the alert button on your car alarm. So noise starts going off right away. That's gonna make the person maybe less likely to try it because there's so much attention being drawn to the area. So little things like that, awareness are probably number one. And as far as someone being in the back seat, look in the back seat first. Out of time.
Yeah, we're nearly out of time. Does anybody else have any questions?
No.
No.
I was wondering, so like earlier, like, I wondered, like if you kick somebody in the side of the knee, will it just like dislocate the knee?
Yeah, when you hit it from the wrong side, like the knee is supposed to bend this way.
Yeah.
So that earlier technique she did, if she had actually kicked the side of my knee,
Yeah.
it potentially would have torn some of the ligaments in my knee
Like,
and make it a lot harder for me to walk. Yeah.
I hit a golf ball once and did that, and my knee is just like
Exactly. That's definitely a possibility.
Yeah. So can we give them a big thank you? Let's give them a round of applause.
Guys, you were awesome. You were great listeners and fun to work with and had some great questions. So thanks for having us today.